Bonjour and welcome back to Famous Interviews, a show where I summon celestial celebrity spirits for a sit-down and a chinwag and a lengthy, lingering look at their lucky, lucrative lives. And with an ultimate net worth of $18 million, one could certainly call today's interlocutor's life lucrative. Today's interlocutor's life lucrative. Try saying that 3 times quickly. Well, for her, yes, her, it all began in the mid-50s. That's 1950s for you Gen Alphas, with an appearance on Groucho Marx's You Bet Your Life, a game show your great-Grammys and Gramps watched on black and white tellies. Groucho allowed her to showcase her clever quips and pleasant personality, which gave her an auspicious national exposure. What's that, Egbert? A type of exposure? Good heavens, dear. It was primetime telly. There were no adult cables back then, or whatever link your laptop's lewdly tuned to. She was curiously considered a candidate for a spread in Playboy. But I digress. And now I need a sippy poo and a city down. So comfy. So wonderful to get off of me feet. These shoes are lovely, but lethal. So. And now back to today's guest. If I am successful with me conjuring, if I sound a little cocksure, it's for good reason. Because my summonings have all been successful so far. And I predict today's shall be no exception. So, this week's summoned somebody's a stellar symbol of singular success. She appeared on Groucho's show relatively late in life, then became an instant sensation in a certain celebrated cellar club in San Francisco, called the Purple Onion. She was unusual in so many fashions, and I use the term fashions rather loosely. Ultimately, it was her hilarious humor and kinky coiffure which fomented her fame. And if you haven't already guessed, I am talking about the one and only colorfully campy comedienne, Phyllis Diller. Yes, I know. So without any additional diversion, let us commence la quivoquante. I'm calling to you a musical cue to help bring you through. Fabulous Phyllis Diller, come share with me my humble stage, perhaps relate a joke. I wish to chat with and engage the spirit I convoke. Commune with us, Phyllis Diller, commune with us. Appear amongst us, be here amidst us. Darling, I'm not being funny, but I haven't cut all day. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I'm delighted to be here in this state-of-the-art venue. This stage is to art as Duchamp's fountain was to Dada. A toilet as the Hindenburg is to air safety. A disaster as I am to Miss Universe. Well, let's face it, I was never pretty. Last time I attended the Westminster Dog Show, I came in 3rd. In high school, I was cast as a witch in Macbeth so they could save money on makeup. In the yearbook, I was voted most likely to be avoided. But I'm glad to be here. I'm glad to be anywhere but up there. Heaven is like a high school reunion. Everyone who ever shunned me is there. Even my idiot make-believe husband, Fang. He's there. His whole family is there. And I don't know how they got into heaven. They're not even real. Must have slipped past St. Peter while I was watching out for Lady Mary. He says she's overdue. Well, take a look at her. She had 3 failed careers when I was just starting out. She's so old you'd have to carbon date her. I knew her before she had only 1 chin. I knew her before she grew a pair. Even before she met Fred Dick, back when any Dick would do. Or Tom, or Harry. But she inspired me. I saw her perform in a club before she hit it small. I thought, well, what if someone with talent did that? And that's when I started performing. Excuse me, excuse me. Who said that? I did. I've summoned you here for the chat, not for the stand-up. And as Truman Capote once told me, a conversation is not a monologue. So please, dear, do asseyez-vous self. That means have a seat, dear. I almost didn't see you. You blend right into the scenery, like a Deschamps. Smell like one, too. What is it? Eau de toilette? No, Chanel. Now, darling, it's a real coup having you here in my little realm. Your little realm? So what? Does that make you the queen? Not the queen, a queen. That is, here I am queen, but we're not here to talk about moi, we're here to talk about vous. So, let us begin, shall we? Prime de tout. Is it true you hail from Ohio? Yes, Lima, Ohio. You mean Lima? No, I mean Lima, like the bean. You don't say Lima bean, you say Lima. I grew up in Lima, went to high school in Lima. How quaint. Were you outgoing as a child? No, I was extremely shy. I think I compensated for my shyness by being funny. And you were funny. And musical. Because after high school, you ended up in Chicago at the conservatory, where you studied musique, n'est-ce pas? Now, isn't that odd, considering where you ended up? No, I don't think it was. If you'll notice, most comics are musicians. Well, I never noticed. But, well, not that you mention it, Steve Martin plays with his, he's always fiddling around with his big old, whatchamacallit? Banjo. Yes. And Adam Sandler strums and sings. It's amazing. There's some correlation there, I'm positive. The Smothers Brothers, guitar and bass fiddling. Henny Youngman and Jack Benny, the violin. Victor Borge and Jimmy Durante, the piano. If anyone's alive who knows who they were. There's something about hearing and listening. The ear's terribly important to be funny. I have no ear at all. I'm a big fan of pianists, though. Well, if we keep on this track, we'll raise an entire orchestra of funny bones. So, Phyllis, darling, would you mind telling the viewers, assuming they're there... There's no there. I checked on the way down. Pardonnez-moi? There, not there. Besides, I've seen your ratings. Ha ha ha! And I can assure you there's no they, no them, not here, not there. Well, moving right along. Is it true you and Sherwood... Sherwood? Sounds like one of Andora's names for Darren. Chestrel, dear. And speaking of comic husbands, is it true you eloped with your first, Sherwood Diller? True. Because no one in either family approved of the marriage. Quel fromage. You must have found him very attractive if you were willing to risk the wrath of both families. I suppose the proof that you did is the 5 children you had together. Yes, and that was really one of the great payoffs of my life. Oh, how sweet. And I know exactly how you feel, though not quite as prolific as vous, I'm afraid. I have only one wonderful one and only, me sweet, sensitive son, Cecil. I must admit I spoil him, give him whatever he wants, cook whatever he likes. Were you a good cook? Ha ha ha! Are you kidding? When I chopped an onion, the onion cried. My French fries defected. My pineapple upside-down cake came out sideways. Oh dear. Well, then let's move along. Tell us more about your fictitious fang. What was it about him that bothered you so? Everything. He'd come to bed, leave the light burning all night long, bring a book. And I wouldn't have minded if he read, but he colored. He's dumb. I'll bite. How dumb is he? He's so dumb he thinks E equals MC squared is a DJ. He thinks vitamin D is Viagra. And get this, he thinks YouTube is a form of birth control. How would he know about the YouTube? Wasn't that after his time? It's in the Ethernet. We've got everything up there. Well, can't have heaven without the ether, can you? Now, Phyllis, I have always wondered, why do you always wear gloves? All clowns wear gloves. You wear gloves. All right. And what about, well, about that wardrobe? You mean this? It's gorgeous. I love it. Did you know we both use the same designer, Bob Tacky? Biggest name in haute manure. And who, pray, does your hair, dear? Mary, you'll never believe this, but I'm wearing a wig, and I'll tell you why. I'd go to have my hair done, my beautician would work on me for hours, and still he wouldn't let me out the front door. He's a backdoor man. Like my sweet son Cecil. That is, he's been styling me hair these days. With what? An egg beater? Well, remember to be kind to him, in spite of your hair, because he will be choosing your arrest home. Is he rich? No, he's a struggling artist. Broke, like Fang, the cheapest imaginary husband, dead or alive. The wedding ring he gave me turned my whole body green, like your middle finger. And he gave me that, too. And you know, his mother had a starry dress just like yours. Not queen size, king size. Yours only fits one constellation. Hers fits a whole galaxy. Fat old bitch. You wouldn't believe her. She was so big when she boarded a cruise ship there was coastal flooding. She ate so many Happy Meals she was delirious. When the doctor said she needed a full body scan, they had to call NASA. Très amusé. But let's focus again on you, Cherry, shall we? If you don't mind. Alors, while raising your children, you worked several jobs. Not all at once, of course, but in succession. First, you were a writer, n'est-ce pas? Yes, I wrote an advice column, advertising in a couple of radio stations. And that was my 5-year career outside the home as a working housewife. Two of the most redundant words in the world. And then, at the ripe young age of 37, everything's relative, you careened to the career we all know and love. Before me, there were practically no female stand-up comics. And during me, they still weren't sure. And I didn't know that, or I would have thought it was impossible. But nothing is impossible if you don't know you can't do it. For 10 years, I had the field all to myself. And then along came Joan Rivers, who I adored. And then we had it all to ourselves for another 19 years. 20 years, just the two of us. I've had her on the show as well. Love her. But you were the premier pioneering performer. You must have been very brave, nerves of steel. The thing is, for years I was absolutely petrified. I mean, the first 4 years I visibly shook. Everything shook. I was so nervous I was a basket case before every show. It was a wonderful thing to finally get over that and to be able to work with ease and without that extra burden of fear. And if you ever get there, you'll know what I mean. When you don't know what you're doing, it's fearful. And you look petrified. Au contraire, dear. I may appear anxious, but that's just a tick. Underneath, I am quite relaxed. Je te rassure. Fruit fly. So moving right along, did you write your own material? No. For the first 4 years, I wrote all of it, except for the musical parodies. I was the original material girl. Well, then I started buying a lot of it. And I would say that I bought about half of my material. I bought gags, one-liners, brevity is the soul of wit. A setup and a payoff, like, she's so fat that, boom, once a month they'd shove her through the Holland Tunnel to clean it. I wonder, did Mr. Diller object to you going out so often? No, he was very supportive. In fact, he not only urged me, he insisted I leave the house every night. Well, perhaps that explains Ward Tatum, husband number 2. But you did go on to great success. Besides comedy clubs, movies, and television, didn't you also play Dolly on Broadway? Yes, I did. And how was it working for the legend David Merrick? Well, if I had ever had a heart transplant, I would have wanted David Merrick's, because it had never been used. But seriously, Hello, Dolly was an important show. It was the longest-running comedy until the Paris Climate Accords. Paris Climate Accords? I must have missed that one. Was performing a show 8 times a week difficult? I've always wondered. Mary, the hardest thing about being a woman in dramatic art is getting your eyelashes on. So help me, it's really difficult. But it's not so easy for men either. So I've heard. Now, darling, you were blessed with a generously long life. 95 years long. Life gets very complicated by old age. You know you're old when Ensure is your favorite drink. You know you're old when you have sexual fantasies about Joe Biden. You know, I had no idea old age starts so young. My skin got so dry and brittle when I walked in a breeze I caused a dust storm. And steer clear of those candles. You look pretty dried up yourself. I can hear your cheeks crackle when you smile. I can't even remember your original color. You've been gray for so long. Actually, I've gone beyond gray to Gandalf the White. I meant your skin. Let's face it, you're old. Soon you'll be summoning yourself. You know you're old when your liver spots start showing through your gloves. That's on the glove, darling. Stain, I hope. Probably left by me producer, Egbert. He's always playing with my gloves and his hands are always so sticky. His right hand especially. So now that we're on the subject of aging, and I don't mean to pry, but it is said you've admitted to having had some work done. Eyes, neck, lower. When I hit middle age, here's what happened. I hit 40 going 90 miles an hour, and boy was it a crack-up. My period turned into a comma. My cheeks sank to my chest. My creamy complexion curdled. So I made a beeline to the plastic surgeon, and I had a lot of things done. When I died, God didn't know me. There were no 2 parts of my body the same age. If I had one more facelift, my chin would have had pubic hair. How vivid. I've never had anything done. I'm au naturel. When my time is up, I want to be able to look in the mirror and recognize myself. I prefer a stranger. If I were you, I'd have started in my teens. I had 3 facelifts. I did everything I could to improve myself. I tried to be healthy, tried to spread cheer and happiness, never talked negative, never told anyone they're not doing the right thing. I minded my own business, basically. And what a wonderful philosophy. Of course, if I minded my own business, you wouldn't be here. Vraiment. I always felt that when I died, I was just going to be dead. I'd regret my death because I knew I was going to miss me. But it turns out I was wrong. Dead wrong. There is more, or I wouldn't be here dying again. But seriously, I didn't need the promise of more because life was so wonderful. I didn't believe in life after death, but it turns out there is a heaven, and my afterlife is going pretty well. Just this morning I went shopping for a pair of Tiffany wings. Louis Comfort's up there, you know. He makes the wings himself, with all the diamonds and rubies and emeralds you could ever dream of. Real ones, not like yours. And just as I was about to place my order, you summoned and I ended up here. I can only hope it's a round trip. Well, of course it is, darling. You're free to leave whenever you like. So sorry to have interrupted your wing-ding. You know, Tiffany's on Fifth Avenue is a little bit of heaven right here on earth. So, d'accord, I'll let you go, say au reservoir. But before I do, please answer me just une dernière question. Go ahead, ask me anything. I have always wondered, however did you come up with your signature laugh? It's my real laugh. Isn't it a shame? I laugh the same as a child. You know what my father called me? Called me the laughing hyena. Well, she who laughs last loves best. And isn't she? The best, I mean. So amusing, willing to poke fun of herself. Though she managed to get in a couple of digs on me as well, didn't she? Never negative my arse. Well, you know, as much as she claimed otherwise, she really wasn't an unattractive woman, was she? Of course, I'm judging by face number 3. The 3 faces of Phyllis. She could give Joan Rivers a run for her money. I imagine the 2 of them up there floating about somewhere in the great QVC in the sky, shopping for their stone-studded Louis comforts and a fresh face. Well, dears, another episode, another dead reckoning. And I do hope you enjoyed having Phyllis as much as I. Of course, I don't mean having Phyllis. Heavens, I mean chewing the rag. No, something else. Shooting the breeze, titty-tattling. And do join me next time for another exciting exhumation of who knows who. And don't forget to like this episode and to subscribe to me Chanel, my cher. Speaking of facelifts. So until next time, I hope to remain the very living Lady Mary Pozah. And this has been Famous Interviews.